We're just gonna go off. Fucking, oh, my Dr. Pepper. Ah, delicious. Monitors. You want a monitor? I got you. I got your monitors. I got your monitors right here. You're watching on it. Fucking, and I bet what you're watching on, I don't know, is cool, I guess. I'm here to tell you information about monitors. This is a fucking train wreck. I've recorded this so many times, and it's been like I've been professional upon professional upon professional, and it always sucks. So I threw out the script. I threw it out, and I'm just gonna yell facts about monitors at you, and hope that you watch this video. So run it. Run the intro. Oh fuck, I dropped the cap. Monitors. They're very important. They're what you're watching on this right now. You're watching this on a monitor right now. And you may be thinking to yourself, Aaron, what if I want to be watching this and also I want to be good at gaming? Well, then do I have the information for you? Because we're talking about gaming monitors today. And then a fucking thing slides in, gaming monitors. Gaming monitors. Gaming monitors are fun, man. And there's like a lot of parts to getting a gaming monitor that you just got to be aware of, right? So I'm going to try and be as funny and as informative as physically possible for you. So let's get this train wreck started. There are three things actually, but I'm only going to talk about two things for monitors, gaming monitors specifically, that you're going to need to look out for. So let's get started. Right now we're going to talk about refresh rate. And then a refresh rate thing happens. Refresh rate. Refresh rate, mostly titled with the units of Hertz or Hz, is how many times your monitor can display an image or refresh at the rate at which it refreshes. It's very self-intuitive. I love it. This is when you're going to have to look at your desk and you're going to go, oh, what do I have? I have a PlayStation 4 Pro, or I have a cool gaming PC, or I've got a Wii. I don't judge. And you're going to go, how many frames does this output as? And how many frames does this output? And what is the refresh rate that I need to at least match it? So if you have a Xbox One X that is playing your Halo 4 or 5, I don't know, I don't play Xbox, Halo 5 at 60 frames per second, I assume, let's pretend. You're playing Halo 5 at 60 frames a second, you are going to need at least a 60 hertz monitor. So if you don't have that, say you're playing Halo 5 at 60 frames per second, and you have a 30 hertz monitor, for some reason those don't exist, 30 hertz monitor, well, you're going to get what's called screen tearing, or, something that looks like this. Screen tearing. Screen tearing is the fucking worst. You never want it. You don't want it. You don't want it at all. And if you're playing PC games, they might have a system or a small software thing that is called usually VSync, G-Sync, FreeSync, any sort of syncs. And that's going to cap your frame rate at the refresh rate of the monitor that is detecting that you're playing on. The issue with that is that VSync's garbage. It's hot garbage. And it's going to make your game look so much worse than what you want. So what you want to do is have a monitor that is good, has a high enough refresh rate for what you're outputting. So you may be thinking to yourself, Aaron, if that's true, I should just get the highest refresh rate monitor possible. And I'm going to hit you with a yes, except for a couple key factors. Well, one key factor. And that's when we're going to go into our thing about resolution. Because you want great resolution, right? You want it. This video is at 1080p. I look standard high definition, which is wonderful. And what you really want is to figure out where your priorities are. Do you need a high refresh rate monitor? If you're playing on a PlayStation 4 Pro or Xbox One X that are capped at 60 frames per second, you don't really need 144 hertz, do you? So at that moment, you might want to get a higher resolution monitor. Say those can both output at 4K, so you might want to get a 4K monitor instead. If you're playing primarily on PC and you don't give a shit about resolution, 1080p is perfectly fine for you, then maybe you want to get the 144 hertz or even like 220 or 4 bajillion hertz monitors that you can get so that your game can be as buttery smooth as physically possible. The reason I bring up that they're intrinsically linked is because your refresh rate and your resolution... No, scratch that. Your resolution is about how many pixels you have in your video. Well, it takes more power to refresh more pixels, which means that the higher refresh rate and the higher resolution you go, the more expensive your monitor is going to be. It feels kind of intuitive, but it's something you may accidentally overlook. A 4K monitor that's running at 60 hertz is going to be less expensive than a 4K monitor that's running at 200. I think 200 is a standard now. It's like 210 or 220 or something ridiculous like that. So you're going to want to figure out what is important to you. What's important for your setup, what's important for your needs, and what you want in your monitor setup or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what you're playing on. Maybe you play only Sega Genesis games. And in that case, this means nothing to you because I'm sure you run on like a CRTV or some bullshit like that. I don't know. But I don't know what your gaming setup is like. Tell me what your gaming setup's like, and I'll tell you what monitor you should get. Text me. I'll pick up the phone. There's one more part of gaming monitors I haven't really talked about, and that's because it's only for those ultra hardcore gamers, and that's response time. Response time is kind of confusing, and it kind of sounds like refresh rate, but also it's not really refresh rate. I still don't really understand it. What I do know... Oh, I'm so sorry. What I do know is that the lower response time, the better for certain games. Are you an online shooter kind of a gamer? You know, you play your Overwatches and your Call of Duties and your Splatoons. My favorite online shooter. It's a stupid joke. Then low response time is going to be for you. You're going to want those. You're going to want those 1 millisecond response times. If you play other games like RPGs, like if you play RTSs, if you play simulation games, pretty much anything other than an online competitive shooter, then your response time doesn't matter as much. Usually the standard is about 10 milliseconds. That is perfectly fine for you. For 80% of people that play video games, you're totally fine. If you are super serious about your competitive, you play competitive multiplayer shooters, you play Rainbow Six Siege, CSGO, Overwatch, any of those other stuffs, get that 1 millisecond response time. That's going to be your best bet. So, there. I talked about response time. Or did I want to say anything else? Oh! 4K monitors. I do want to say something about 4K monitors. I don't know if you should get a 4K monitor. I think 1440p is enough. If you're sitting anywhere from a foot to a foot and a half away from your monitor, you're not going to really see it. 4K TVs are great. They're great because you're usually sitting about, anywhere from 4 to 6 to 7 feet away from your TV. So that makes sense for your 4K. But when you're getting that close, the fidelity doesn't really matter. I think you're better off getting a 1440p monitor at a higher refresh rate, just in case. But if you really need that 4K, and you're willing to shell out the money for it, go right ahead. I didn't talk about ultra-wide monitors, but they follow the same rule as resolution when it comes to refresh rate. The more different your aspect ratio than 16:9, so a 21:9 or 32:9. 32:9. In those ultra-wide monitors, a higher refresh rate is going to be more expensive than a lower refresh rate because of the more pixels that you're going to have to refresh in a single second. So be wary of that as well. Also, not a lot of games support ultra-wide, or at least a lot of older games don't. Newer ones are, as they come out, supporting ultra-wide. But be wary of that as well, especially if you're playing on console. If you're playing on console, I don't think any console game supports ultra-wide, so be wary of that as well. And make good decisions with your monitors, people. That's why I'm here. And I hope that this was informative. I hope so, anyway. If I forgot about anything, let me know. I've got a list of monitors that you should get in the description below. One's a low end, one's a mid tier, and one's a high tier. All of them 144 hertz, because I believe that's the gold standard that you might want to achieve. It's great for future proofing, in case your gaming system can only run 60 frames per second now, but it will be able to if you upgrade your graphics card or your CPU in the future. 144 hertz is great future proofing effort. If you want to know about more professional monitors, things like photographers and illustrators and content creators use, then that will be in a separate video that will be coming out next episode. And so stay tuned for that. Go ahead and like, subscribe, do all that fun YouTube stuff. Follow us on Twitter at ScoopGangTweets. And Dr. Pepper, sponsor me. Do it. Get out of here. I've told you all I can about monitors, alright? Get out of here. Leave me alone. It's like my 9th time recording this video, goddammit. And each time it's not funny, so...